The best way, the only way to change your future is to become completely in tune with the present moment. But how do you accept what's happening now, especially when what's happening really needs to change? Today I'm going to show you some simple steps to making now a catalyst for change so you can see tangible results. That's what we're going to take a look at today. Coming up. Welcome to the Power Quiet, helping you realize who you really are. So you can realize you could have happiness, abundance, peace, and imperturbability in your life. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe, because what we do here on this channel, it's practical, it's provable, and you're going to love it. It's super easy, and it's really a lot of fun. Now, many years ago, I read Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now. And this spoke to me so deeply. What Eckhart Tolle said in this book made perfect sense. And he talked about being in the now, and that if you really want to make a change, that you have to accept what is now, that makes all the difference. Now, inside this made perfect sense, and I tried to apply this myself, but to me, I found it very difficult. The more that I focused on just being with what is, I just found myself getting more and more dissatisfied with what is and feeling stuck and like nothing was really changing. And you might be thinking, well, you're doing it wrong. And of course I was, you're right. The thing is I didn't really know how to make that leap, because Eckhart was kind of coming from way up here. And in my mind, I was like down here. So I really needed a practical step that will elevate me up to his level of consciousness so I can see things the way that he does. And I stuck with it. And over the years, the little tools came in that enabled me to start taking the steps to elevate to this consciousness. And I want to share these with you here and focus in on some goals that you have so you can see how you could take your goals in life and use them the right way so you can actually realize your goals and use them through Eckhart's method of being in the now. We're going to talk about that because what he's talking about is absolutely true. If you want to change the future, you can't change the future because guess what? The future doesn't exist. It's only a concept in your mind. The only thing that is real is now. And the problem is that most of us, we are looking at our goals as a way to run away from now. And that's why we fail at getting our goals. So we're going to take Eckhart's approach to using now as a catalyst for change, for transformation. But we're going to do it in a very practical way that every one of us can do this. Now, before we jump into it, I just want to let you know about a brand new course that's coming up, a 6-week live video course. It's called How to Live Your Life's Purpose. It's a goal-oriented course that's designed to get you crystal clear about what your purpose is in life, so you can clearly move towards that purpose and really make a difference in your world. Craft the world exactly as you would like to see it. It's really easy. And in this class, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. So I'm going to put some links in the description below. Check that out. And let's take some steps now. So think about a goal that you have in life. And for the sake of setting an example, using an example here, I'm going to use the example of having a financial goal, because this is something that I've been working on a lot of my life, improving my financial situation, my finances and my future, how I wanted all of that to change. So I'm going to use that as a demonstration, but you could take any goal that is really important to you, something that is a situation in your life that you would like to be different. Now, I'm going to show you actually how to go into it, into the now of what's happening, and using that as a portal. So take a look at that goal now. You have that goal in mind? And while you're at it, take a look at your current situation. What's going on now that you find dissatisfactory? What it is that you would like to change? Your present situation. Just notice that too. Now, notice the tendency. You have your goal and your current situation. Your tendency is to want to be here and not here. Like anything that will get me out of this. And see, a lot of us, we're coming from that attitude. I want to get away from this. But that attitude itself is what's keeping us stuck. And here's why. The mind, it deals only in pictures. Like if I say, don't fall down, what do you get a picture of? Falling down, right? The mind doesn't process the words not or don't. It just goes straight to the picture. So when you are holding in mind, I want to get away from that, that thing that's undesirable. What are you really picturing in your mind? Are you really picturing the goal, the end result, the positive thing? Or are you really holding in mind that which is negative and undesirable? It's really more on that. That's kind of what you're keep thinking about over and over and over in your mind, right? This present situation that I don't like. And if your mind is a creative instrument, and we're just going by that assumption that the mind is a creative instrument, I mean, we could see that practically, when we get ourselves focused and we're clear on our goal, we just see exactly what it is we want to achieve. We don't have any garbage in the way. We achieve these things and we create things very, very easily. The mind is a very creative tool. The problem is we have a bunch of junk. And the junk right now is holding in mind what we don't want. And see, now we can practically look at what Eckhart's talking about. You got to be accepting of this. All right? So this makes sense so far. We're on the same page. Now let's take some steps now to start really dissolving our barrier with being in the now so we can transform it. Now notice that whatever it is that you want to move away from, this present situation, that you're resisting it. It's like, I don't want to be here. I really want to be here, not here. You notice that? You're resisting that. You want to get away from it, right? Now, again, when you're resisting it, does that reinforce the picture? That negative image that's keeping you stuck with creating your current situation? Of course, it's just locking it in harder and harder. And this is what makes you stuck. All right? Now, that resistance that you're feeling, it's a feeling, isn't it? Don't you feel that resistance? So get in touch with this feeling. Welcome up this feeling of resistance. And if you were to measure this feeling of resistance on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the most resistant, 0 being the least resistant, where are you? Now, wherever you're at, whether it's a 2, a 6, a 10, or heck, maybe you're at a 30, just notice where you're at. And notice that that feeling of resistance doesn't feel so hot. In fact, when that resistance comes up, you want to say no to it, right? Like, that's uncomfortable, it feels icky. Get it out of here. I don't like this feeling of resistance. So, for the lack of better words, what you're doing is you're saying no to that resistance. And when you're saying no to the resistance, does that make the resistance go away? No, it doesn't, does it? In fact, it just makes it stronger and stronger. It takes it from a 30 to a 60, right? So if saying no doesn't work, then maybe if we did something radically different, we might get a radically different result rather than being stuck with the resistance and being stuck with the current unpleasant situation. So the question is, are you willing to do something radically different? Well, I'm assuming so. All right? So, if saying no to that resistance isn't working, and we're going to do something radically different, the radical difference now is saying yes to that resistance. And it's just a feeling. So look right at that feeling of resistance now. Wherever it is, a 2, a 6, 10, whatever. Look at that resistance. Just right at it. Say yes to it. Just yes. Y-E-S. Could you say yes to that resistance? Could you say yes to that resistance even more? And could you say yes to that resistance even more? And could you say yes to it even more? And could you say yes to that resistance even more? And could you say yes to it even more? And even more. And even more. And could you say yes to it even more? And even more. And even more. Now, measure yourself again. See if there's a difference now. See if you moved on that scale of 0 to 10. If you're a little bit lower now, even if it's just 1 point, just notice if you moved. And notice if you feel a little bit lighter now than you did a few moments ago. You notice a difference? All right? Now, what you have is some energy moving. You're letting some of this resistance go just by saying yes. I mean, how easy is that? All right, so now that we've got some energy moving, let's capitalize on this. Let's take advantage of this momentum that's happening now. All right, so first, just look at where you are now with your resistance, the remaining resistance here, and look at it and just say to it, I love you, resistance. Try this out. I love you. I really, really love you. I love you. Notice this is an entirely different attitude. It's very different than what we normally do because we don't like it. The resistance, we don't like the things that we don't like. And when we're doing that, we're practicing hate. And that's a decision. And what we're doing right now is a decision to love. And we're just using the words. We're using the words. You may not feel it fully, but use the words to guide you, to direct you, to making a smarter decision. I mean, is it smarter to hate or is it smarter to love? So look at that resistance and say, I love you, resistance. I really love you. I love you. I love you with all of my heart. I love you unconditionally. I love you if you stay. I love you if you leave. I love you either way. I just love you. All right? Now notice if you moved even further. If you feel a little bit lighter now. And again, let's capitalize on this momentum. See, you got some more energy flowing, some more of this negative feeling just opening up and leaving, right? It's leaving. How do you know? Because you feel lighter. All right? So, instead of now pushing down on the rest of that resistance, which is what we've been doing all along, when we say no to it, what are we doing? We're pushing down on that resistance. And that's how we've been collecting it and getting heavier and heavier as the years go by. So now, instead of pushing down on that resistance, welcome it up. Allow that resistance to arise now and open up. You can open up an imaginary window or door and imagine this resistance coming up and just going right on out the door. Now just watch it leave. It's just energy. It's just a feeling. A feeling is just energy. It's not physical. It's not tangible. You've never met a feeling ever. You felt a feeling, but it's just energy. So it's just energy. It's not good. It's not bad. Allow it to pass through. Just watch that energy. Imagine it going right on out that door. And let it go even more. Just welcome it up and allow it to pass through. And even more. 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 And notice how you feel now. See if you feel even lighter. And here, this is showing you that you can let go of the feeling. You don't have to struggle with it anymore. Now, take a look at that situation, that current situation, the one that you set the goal to make different. Look at the situation that is, the way that it is in your life, and see if you're as bothered by it as you were a few moments ago. See if you're more okay with it. Are you? All right. So here's what we're doing. Now you notice this difference. And this is a necessary step. This is what I felt was missing in my practice with trying to follow what Eckhart Tolle was showing. Was that, yeah, I wanted to surrender to that situation, accept it, but I was finding it difficult, if not impossible, to accept it while I was simultaneously resisting it. It's like trying to drive a car with the handbrake on. Wasn't going anywhere. All right? So I got to release the brake. Let that go. And now, let's see if it's more possible to accept what is and see what happens when we do. All right? So, take a look to see if you want to change that situation, what is right now. If you want it to be different. And of course you do, right? Because you have the goal. You'd rather have that instead of that. And when you're wanting to change the current situation, again, if the mind deals in pictures, what are you holding in mind? You're holding in mind what is. That's what you're picturing, and that's why it doesn't change. So right now, could you make a decision? And it's a decision, yes or no. Decide, could you let go of wanting to change it? Just a little bit. Try it out. Now, here's the thing. This might sound counterintuitive to your mind. Well, wait a minute. If I let go of wanting to change it, then I'm just going to be stuck with it. Well, you've been wanting to change it for a while, right? Probably for a long while. And for a long while, has it changed? If wanting to change it worked, it would have changed. So obviously, wanting doesn't work. So try this out. And if this doesn't work out for you, you can always go back to wanting to change it, right? So try it. Could you let go of wanting to change the current situation? Yes or no? And could you let go of wanting to change it a little bit more? Yes or no? And could you let go of wanting to change it even more? And could you let go of wanting to change it even more? And even more. And even more. And even more. And even more. And could you let go of wanting to change it even more? And even more. Now, take a look to see if it's more possible to change now than it was a couple of moments ago. See if you feel more positive. See if it's more possible. Notice the difference. And notice if you feel a little bit lighter. See, that wanting, and this is something that Buddha talked about. He said that the world is suffering, and the cause of suffering is desire. Notice how that wanting was not only keeping you stuck, but also keeping you miserable. And all it is just a simple decision. Either you decide to want or you decide not to want. It's your choice. You are always directing the show here. Everything is your decision. And by making a smart decision now, you see you can lift the veil of lack, of suffering. And the proof now is when you lift this veil, this lighter feeling is showing you that that veil has been covering up the happiness and the power that has been inside of you all along. All this business of wanting to change things has been a joke that you've been playing on yourself. And you see, you've been the joker. All right? So let's take it a step further now. Now that we've let go of a little bit of wanting to change it, notice if it's a little bit easier to accept it. Now, instead of wanting to be separate from the current situation, could you allow yourself to be one with it? Move towards it. And could you allow yourself to be one with that situation a little bit more? Now, maybe a little bit of a light bulb is starting to go on in your mind. You're starting to realize that your happiness doesn't necessarily depend on whether that thing is different or not. That your happiness is really up to you. You decide whether you're happy, and it doesn't depend on that. So can you decide to just be happy despite what's going on? And could you be one with it? And could you be happy anyway? And could you allow yourself to surrender to what is right now? And more. And even more. And even more. And could you surrender fully to what is. Just be one with it. Let go of pushing it away. Let go of wanting to be separate from it. And just be one with it. And even more. And even more. Now, notice how you feel. See if you feel even lighter. And see if it's more possible now to have your real goal. See, now you're starting to break apart what it is that you've been holding in mind all along. And it's easier to accept the positive result. Just accept it. And here is the real truth that we're getting to now. See, how you do anything is how you do everything. If you take away one lesson from what we just were practicing here on this video, this is it. You see, if you're resisting what is, and you're rejecting the now, how you do anything is how you do everything. To that degree, you're resisting and rejecting your goal. As much as you say you want it, you're rejecting it because you're rejecting what is. Now, when you let that go and you accept what is, notice how that makes it easier to accept your goal, having that. And you see, what we're doing here is unlocking the science of the mind. We're really seeing how the mind really works, how the mind deals in pictures and what we've been holding in mind. And by taking some practical, provable steps, just one step upon another, we can shift this picture and shift our consciousness. This is how you make a change. You do it step by step. So I want to hear from you. Tell me what it is that you are experiencing, what you realize. Does this make sense to you? The way that your mind works. Is this clear? Is this something that you are proving out for yourself? Let me know in the comments below. And let me know if you're seeing that it's more possible now to change your picture and affect what's going to happen in your future. If that is more possible to have your goal, please let me know. And if you want to get into this more thoroughly and more deeply, check out the new course that I have in the comments below, How to Live Your Life's Purpose. That's something that's really going to open your eyes and get you really clear so you can move forward in life. In the meantime, practice what we've been doing here. And if you see a tangible difference, if you actually see things happening and your goals start manifesting, let me know in the comments below. All right? So, till next time, happy releasing, and I'll see you later.